Hello there and welcome to the card grotto. For my card today I'm starting off with a piece of Tim Holtz watercolour cardstock and I'm just prepping that with my EK Success powder tool. And now I've got the Peony Garden Cling background stamp from the ton. It's absolutely beautiful background stamp. I'm actually only using a small portion of it, but it's just really beautiful. So I'm inking that up with some Versamark ink and then I'm going to pop the watercolour piece on top. So I'm just turning over the watercolour cardstock, so I'm using the smooth side and I'm just taking a piece of extra paper just to really push down into all the little grooves and everything on the stamp. And then I'm just going to take off the piece of cardstock and then I'm going to apply some white embossing powder. This is the Wow Bright White embossing powder. So just tipping all of that all over the panel of cardstock. Like I said, I only need a small portion of this, but since the ink is already on there, I'm going to be doing some watercolouring on this, so I want to make sure that everything's covered. So just adding that embossing powder on there, and then I'm just going to funnel the rest of it back into the pot. And now I'm going to heat set that with my heat gun, just until it's completely melted. I've then stuck my panel down onto a board with some masking tape and I'm going to be using my Peerless watercolours here. So I just thought I'd share with you how I'm storing them. I've cut out little pieces and put them onto some watercolour cardstock and made kind of like a little book out of it. I quite like this method of storing them, and I've got a big piece of acetate in between just to make sure that the colours don't kind of graduate onto the other colours. So here I'm applying a nice coat of water onto my panel here. I find this the easiest way to do it, just to kind of get the colours sort of melding and mixing together. And then I'm taking a smaller paintbrush, just wetting it slightly. I don't want to add too much water at this point. And then I'm going to pick up some of the colour. So I'm going to use the Butterfly Wing Blue to start with. Just taking a bit of that, and then I'm just going to spread that over my watercolour piece. At this point I'm not too concerned about actually how it looks, I just want to get the colour down because I'm going to spray this afterwards and that will blend the colours together. So now I'm going to go in with some purple. This is Heliotrope, I believe. So I'm just going to add that on top. And then I'm going to go in with the pink. I'm not going to try and pronounce this colour, but I will have it linked on my blog. This is actually a red, but it comes out pink to me. So just adding that onto the bottom. And then I felt like I needed a little bit more blue in between the two colours, so I'm just adding that in there. So now I'm going to mist this with a solution of Perfect Pearls and water. I've got a little pearl on the top of my mini mister bottle here, just so I know that this one is filled with Perfect Pearls. One of my viewers told me about this and I thought it was a really great idea. So I'm just going to mist over that quite a bit, and then I can pick up the board here and just kind of move it around, and then I'm going to set that aside to dry naturally. Now I'm going to work on the sentiment piece. I've cut a tag. This is the Clearly Beesotted Tiny Tags die. I've cut that onto some plain white cardstock, and I'm going to be using the sentiments from the Ton Large Peony 1 stamp set. So I've got the Hi and the Friend. So I'm just inking up the Friend portion with some Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and then I'm going to stamp that down onto the little tag, and then I've got the Hi portion, and again inking that up with the same ink, and then I'm going to stamp that down. Just lining it up there and stamping down. And then I wanted to add a little bit of thread to the top of the tag. This is some silver thread, really fine silver thread, and I'm just going to double kind of layer this, if that makes sense, and then tie that in a knot and then tie it in a bow. And I have to be honest here, I struggled with this a little bit. It took me a little while to get it exactly how I wanted it. As you can see, I've speeded this portion up quite a bit on the video just because it really did take me quite a while to kind of move it around how I wanted it. I finally got there in the end. So I'm just going to cut the excess pieces off of the thread, and that piece is completed. So now I've got the watercolour panel here, and this is it dried. So I'm just removing the masking tape here. It helps to actually remove it at an angle to help prevent it ripping any of the cardstock. I'm then taking a dry piece of kitchen paper here and I'm just going over the panel just in case there's any kind of excess ink on the embossing piece. So now I've cut that panel into some strips, quite small strips, and I'm just adding some foam tape onto the back of them. So just adding foam onto all of the backs. I just want to make sure that they're really well covered so that they don't kind of sag or anything like that in the post. So now I want to place them onto my card. So I have a white A2 sized card base here. And I'm just going to arrange the pieces how I want them so I've got a visual idea. And then once I've got the idea of where I want them to be, and then I can remove the bottom two. And then once the first one's stuck down straight, the others will be a lot easier to stick down. So I'm going to remove the foam tape off of the first one. And then I'm going to take some tweezers just because it's a little bit easier for me to kind of hold the piece down. And I've got my T-square ruler here as well, and I've just placed that underneath so that I know that that one's straight. And then I've stuck that down. On these pieces where I'm sticking them down, my head got in the way absolutely massively, so I've kind of obviously edited that portion out, so I do apologise for that. But as you can see, I'm just sticking them down one underneath the other, and I've left a small little gap just in between the panels. And then once that's stuck down, I'm then going to take my tag piece, and then I'm going to add a little bit of foam tape onto the back of that as well. Again, just to pop it up, give a little bit more interest. So I can just remove the backing of that and then place that down. I did think about adding some sequins or anything like that, but because the watercolour panel is so sparkly, I didn't think it needed it. So that's the card finished for today. I hope you've enjoyed watching. Links to the products that I use will be in the description bar on YouTube and also on my blog. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.